As we open this hearing to outline maximum pressure on Iran, I'm going to deliver just a short message before I pass this gavel off to Mr. Lawler, who will actually be chairing this hearing, as he has a keen interest in the issues, as all of us do, and a firm knowledge in everything that we are about to discuss. And because I stole this hearing from him, he was going to do it at the subcommittee level. I thought it would only be right that he chair this committee, and so he will be doing that. But the message that I wish to deliver is this, and it's simply to Ayatollah Khamenei. And I would deliver this to you. President Trump will work with you to peacefully end your nuclear weapons and ballistic missile program, or President Trump will destroy your nuclear weapons and ballistic missile program. You get to choose the remedy, Ayatollah.
Thank you to the ranking member. I now recognize for 5 minutes the gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for being here today. What an important topic as we face the threat from Iran. And to me, the regime in Tehran is very clear. They believe death to Israel, death to America. They believe that by developing a nuclear capability that would be as essential to Israel, it'd be as essential to the United States, particularly as they develop an ICBM capability, which can only have one purpose, and that is to deliver a nuclear attack on the American people. And so over and over again, I'm so grateful for the leadership of Donald Trump to let the dictatorship in Tehran know that they should not develop a nuclear capability and a nuclear bomb, and it should not be developed. And then we need to get to, if it's ever determined they're not, there must be actual verification, not some charade of determining whether it's been stopped or not. And so I have absolute faith, and I'm really grateful for Chairman Mast to bring up, indeed, that we need to do all we can to stop the financing of the dictatorship, with it being revealed that 90% of the oil and gas being sold goes to the Chinese Communist Party. Let's connect the dots. And then we connect another dot, and I was very grateful for President Donald Trump over the weekend to identify the dots that are connected between war criminal Putin and the sale of oil to maintain his dictatorship and the call for secondary sanctions. These would be secondary sanctions that would be against allies, not against, but working with allies of the United States, that they should be part of sanctions. So over and over again, we're in a situation as we face the malign influence, the topic today, we have a circumstance that's so clear to me, and that is that we're involved in a war we did not choose, and that is dictators with rule of gun invading democracies with rule of law. It began February 24, 2022, with the invasion of Ukraine. Then October 7, 2023, the puppets of Iran, Hamas, invading Israel. And then over and over again, we just need to be working together. And with that in mind, I would like each of you, but in particular, Mr. Rule, the issue of sanctions. What more sanctions can we have? And I want you to know that, that many of my colleagues here, that we've introduced a number of bills today. The Maximum Support Act, bipartisan with Congressman Jimmy Panetta. We also have the Free Iraq from Iran Act. I had two of my sons serve in Iraq to liberate Iraq. We didn't mean for it to be liberated for Iran to come in with militias to control the country. And so that needs to be achieved. And then I'm really grateful that we've got legislation pending, and I need people really smart like Congressman Huizenga to be part of this, and that is the address the network of Hezbollah here in the Western Hemisphere, working with drug cartels. With all of that, what can we do in terms of sanctions to help the people of Iran, not the dictatorship?
It's a superb question, sir. Very quickly, any legislation should ensure that we as loudly and as clearly say that the Iranian people can obtain food and medicine from the United States and elsewhere, because their own government's corruption and inefficiency prevents them from doing so, to include during COVID, where over $1 billion of corruption cost them medicine that they so desperately needed. I would say that when anything that could be done to deny the Quds Force resources, because that goes directly to terrorism in the homeland, and supporting proxies overseas who are attempting to kill Americans and individuals in the region is important. Thank you.
And Ms. Youngman, indeed, the tanker tracking is so important. And we're talking about ghost ships of war criminal Putin. We're talking about refineries of the Chinese Communist Party. Over and over again. So how is this being processed? And again, President Trump's made every effort and has made clear he's going to act.
Thank you for the question. I think it's important to remember that the revenue Iran accumulates from its oil sales is not revenue going back to the people of Iran. This revenue is going into the regime's pockets. And I think it's also important to remember that the maritime industry is a large industry. There's a number of Western touch points that these vessels have that can be sanctioned or you can threaten sanctions on. For example, the classification societies. Essentially, every vessel needs to have a safety certificate, which is given from a classification society, to ensure that it's safe to sail the seas. Without that classification certificate, a vessel cannot sail into a port. We have yet to see any sanctions on these classification societies. Flag registries as well, and insurance companies.
And my time is up. I yield back with, hey, thank you for your insight. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So, regime change, I've heard that discussed here. I think that's a horrible concept because we haven't defeated a nation for decades now. But we do know that there have been several uprisings in Iran, and they are put down brutally. So how in the world do we encourage the people of Iran to actually go through the pain to change the regime? Is that possible? Because we're assuming some external force, the U.S. or somebody else, will have to make this happen. Because if we do have a successor to the Ayatollah standing in the wings, how do we encourage them to do this themselves?
The people of Iran need to know that America stands with them, but we need to be very careful and cautious as to how we do this because people are risking their lives. Mm-hmm. They will pay a terrific price in the prisons of Iran, at the hands of Iran's extraordinarily cruel security forces when they're punished, and we need to be very careful that we aren't too cavalier about how this is handled. It's up to the people of Iran to determine their future, and as they do take steps to change that future, they need to know that we will support them and perhaps even provide safe haven if they need security. If in such a situation, but we just need to be careful on how we move forward because if there is a situation where they're caught in the hands of Iran's security, they will be handled very roughly.